Hi guys, how are you and welcome back to my channel. Oh, such a cliche thing to say, but I've actually been gone for like nearly a year, haven't filmed a video in so long. I'll tell you why. It's basically just because I was trying to just find out who I was and do some soul searching and just get some direction in my life and figure out what I wanted to do. Yeah, and I just didn't really feel comfortable putting myself out there on the internet and stuff. I just had a lot of self-doubt and had a lot of self-discovery to do, you know. But it's been a good year, I've learned a lot, and I'm back to do some more videos, so get ready. Also super exciting because this is my first video in my new office. I've been trying to put this bad boy together for a little while now. I'm very poor, so it's taken me a long time to accumulate some cute little trinkets. But yeah, I've set up this little background area that I'm obsessed with. So yeah, I got this fake plant because I can't keep plants alive for the life of me. And I've got my little lipedema legs up there as well to inspire me. And this little pink blanket box I painted myself. I'm an artist, alright? So proud of that. Anyway, that's enough about me. It's good to see you. Let's get into why we're here, right? So today's video is going to be about what's happening internally with lipedema and then also understanding how to manage it. Because I just feel that it's really important, like especially if you do have lipedema, to understand what's really going on in the body, so you just knowledge is power, really. So you understand why you're doing the things you do to look after it, and yeah, it's just very helpful information, really. So let's get into it. Woo! I'm just going to start off by talking about what I initially thought lipedema was. If you see my previous video about what lipedema is, I talked about how lipedema is a fat disease and the fat grows by itself, blah blah blah. And now I have a lot more knowledge around why that's actually happening. So the other day I did a presentation for some doctors here in Auckland, which I'm super excited about. It was so scary, but I did a presentation for them to tell them all about lipedema. And yeah, just through my research with that, I learned so much more about it, and I want to share that with you guys today. So what's actually happening is lipedema is an inflammatory condition. So our bodies already have an issue with inflaming really easily, and our lymphatic systems also don't work that well. Now, Dr. Herbst, I found this really amazing YouTube video, and I'll link it in the description below, found through her studies that women with lipedema actually have a much higher amount of blood vessels in the skin than a normal person. And she thinks that there could be a correlation between that and the amount of fluid entering the fat tissue. So it could be from the blood vessels themselves. Also, later on, our lymphatic vessels end up weakening and it doesn't pump as well. And then also they start forming little tiny, like microscopic tears in them. So from that, the lymph actually ends up leaking into the fat tissue as well. So what we're left with is extra fluid in the fat tissue that's got nowhere to go. So what happens from there is the body is like freaking out and it's like, oh my gosh, there's so much fluid in there, what do we do? So it has an inflammatory response. So that's when it's telling the body to like fix this. But in doing that, our body ends up swelling more, and this is where the fibrotic tissue forms as well. Yeah, lipedema is known for our hard nodular fat, right? So instead of having a nice soft fat cell, our fat cells are encased in this really hard dense tissue called fibrosis. So this is how it's formed. And so from there, the fat cells can't really go anywhere and they're just stuck there, and the cycle keeps going because as the fat cells are, what's the word for it? Basically turned to stone, pulled a bit of a Medusa. So they turn to stone, they can't do anything, so the body's like, oh, well, that fat cell doesn't work anymore, we've got to make some more. And so the cycle goes on. So then I guess the question you're asking now is, so if that's the issue, how is surgery going to help? Because that's what I thought. Surgery does remove this fat that has the fibrotic tissue around it, but surgery isn't going to fix the fact that we have all this inflammation and extra fluid entering our fat tissue anyway. So what we need to do from there is make sure that we're looking after ourselves and doing conservative treatments to keep this swelling and water retention at bay. So I'm going to go over how we do that now. After my surgery, I didn't really see much like a reason for doing conservative treatments, because I was very happy just like being in my own little fairy world, thinking, oh yep, surgery's gonna fix me, I'm fine. Just living in denial basically, up until a couple of months ago when it really hit me that I need to be looking after myself, because after a couple of days of not eating really well and drinking a lot, it was around New Year's, my body just swelled up everywhere. And usually if I swell, I kind of just think I've been on my feet all day, or I'm bloating, but this made it clear that it wasn't just normal bloating. Like my face was swollen, my arms were swollen, my stomach. And what really got me was, I remember I was cleaning the kitchen and just bending over, like wiping the tabletop, and just with my stomach lightly pressing on the bench, it was so sore. It's like that usual lipedema pain where you feel like if you just touch your legs and it's sore. That's what it felt like, but on my stomach. And then I panicked and I was like, oh my god, am I getting lipedema fat in my stomach? But after I ate a little bit better, stopped drinking, that subsided. So I was like, okay, it's an inflammatory thing. Anyway, where I'm going with this is, you really do need to eat well with this condition. Don't do what I did and just assume it's all going to be fixed with surgery, because it's not. Like I said, it removes the fat and it kind of brings you back to stage 1 or less, but it's not a forever fix, and you're still going to get swelling, because our bodies, that's what lipedema is, our bodies just swell. So what I found works really well for me is an anti-inflammatory diet, and I know this helps a lot of people as well. Now, I'm not going to say you need to go on a specific diet. Like, do what you want. I'm sure you're going to do your own research and do what you feel is best for you. I'm not telling you what to do. But personally, I just don't believe in those sorts of diets, and I just feel like they're too restrictive. And with lipedema, it's a lifestyle thing, you know. We're going to need to look after our bodies for the rest of our lives. So we need to establish a relationship with food that we can actually manage long term, and that we can enjoy, and is not going to make us feel like we're living a deprived life, you know? So when I mean eating an anti-inflammatory diet, I mean avoiding foods that cause inflammation and introducing foods that help reduce it. Like I said, this is something that you want to maintain for the rest of your life, so you want to start small. So I just know that the 5 main food groups that you want to avoid are gluten, dairy, saturated fats, sugar, and alcohol. Now those are the 5 biggest ones. I know that's a lot, because it's basically like everything that's in food makes it impossible. Like I said, we're not saying cut it all out, just start small, you know? Like, say I used to have gluten-free toast for breakfast with some egg whites, but then I found that the gluten-free toast has canola oil in it, which aggravates inflammation, and also has a whole lot of other products in it that aren't that great for us. So instead of having a bread carb, I just ended up making a smoothie on the side with 100 grams of banana and some coconut yogurt and a little bit of oat milk and some blueberries. So it's just like a nice little carb to add instead of the toast. Yeah, just like small changes like that, like swapping your regular milk for oat milk or almond milk. And once you get used to something, maybe you can try cutting something else out, or just swapping it every now and then, and just make it easy for yourself. But also for the last week, I've been trialing this like anti-inflammatory diet thing, and I'm going to make a video about it in a couple of weeks once this is done and dusted. It's a very long haul kind of thing. But basically what I'm doing is I'm just cutting out all of these food groups and introducing them one by one to see how they do affect me personally. Now this is probably something that you guys should do too, to see what actually aggravates your body, because then you might not need to cut out dairy. Your body might not swell on it, or you might not need to cut out gluten, because everybody's different. So I'm doing that, and I'm going to be posting all my results and stuff on my Instagram and making a video as well. But yeah, over the last week, I did a bit of a cleanse. So I went 5 days without eating anything inflammatory. Like it was hard. I cut everything out, and God, yeah, my need to binge was very high because it was just so ridiculously restrictive. It did make a massive difference for my swelling though. I felt really good. Yeah, I lost a lot of centimeters around my body, and all in all, I just felt really good, a lot more energetic, and yeah, just not sore anymore. And I definitely do think that it was cutting out all those food groups, although I would not recommend doing that long term because, God, that was horrific. Diet honestly makes the biggest difference, but then also some other things you can do are conservative treatments, such as manual lymph drainage. You can use one of those like little, what are they called? Those massage guns. So Shalon bought me one, my partner. He bought me one for Christmas. He insisted it was for me, but I do think it was more for him because he's the one asking for massages all the time. But anyway, it's not what it's about. No, he is sweet and he does want to massage my legs every now and then. I'll give him that. But it does work really well. And what I say is learn the manual lymph drainage technique. There's lots of really awesome videos on YouTube, and also I follow this amazing woman, Holistic Nutrition Princess, on Instagram. Now she's a fellow lippy girl. She's at stage 1 and she's a nutritionist, and she just posts all this amazing food, and she's so incredibly knowledgeable about what it all does for your body, and she's all into the anti-inflammatory foods and stuff. So if you want some diet tips, honestly, I would recommend following her. She's a genius. But she also has a really good manual lymph drainage video on her Instagram as well, if you want to check it out. I'll show you the name. That's her there. And so if you do have a massage gun or you want to buy one, just use the manual lymph drainage technique, but with a gun instead of your hands. So yeah, that's something you can do. Or like swimming, or you can wear compression tights, but these can be quite expensive and they're so uncomfortable. I just feel like if you maintain a really good diet and you just do a little bit of manual lymph drainage, like, you should be sweet. But if you feel like you need compression, that would be a good way to go, because compression is actually really, really good. It just takes commitment. But yeah, so if you do like all of these things and try your best to look after yourself, you should be able to keep that swelling at bay, because the whole reason these nodules develop is because of that inflammatory response, right? Keep the inflammation down, keep the lipedema down. Boom. Science. Oh, I feel so smart now. But yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, I hope that was helpful. And if you're interested, go to my Instagram and check out my little adventure of testing inflammatory foods and see how they react with me. I take my measurements and everything, and once I introduce them, I take my measurements over 2 or 3 days to see how it affects me over that time. But I still eat completely clean except for introducing that one food group. But yeah, that's it from me. My first video back in 2021. I hope you guys learned something new today, and if you have any questions, please drop a question in the comments. I'll get back to you. If you want, you can message me on Instagram. Whatever you want, I'm always available. Happy to help. Yeah, thank you so much. It's good to see you guys again. It's good to be back. And you should be seeing a lot more of me from now on. I'm excited. Right, I love you guys. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.